guys, to another episode of One of One. I know it has been a while, a long time coming, but today I'm here with an amazing guest, an artist and a performance coach. I'm here with Elise Lynelle. Elise, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. I've just met you. This is like our first time officially meeting face to face. And I would like to know a little bit more about you, where you're based, what you do, things like that. Could you just tell me a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, that's always a funny one. Saying a little bit about myself. It's a little bit. Based in Perth. I've lived here my whole life. And my music journey has been pretty interesting because it wasn't something I necessarily chose.
Right.
It kind of fell upon me. So yeah, in terms of performing and all that kind of stuff, it has all just happened here in Perth.
Yeah.
Little old Perth. Lots of amazing people here, and it's slowly, I came from a musical family, and
right.
it slowly kind of developed into me just going to gigs and meeting all these amazing local musicians.
Yeah.
And from there, just people are very kind here and very supportive in the local music scene. So I kind of just got a lot of really great opportunities to perform with people that wanted to hear more, I guess. And so it just kept on kind of rolling. And that went from being I still am a high school teacher, to having this little music project on the side, to then following music properly and kind of putting the teaching to the side.
Yeah.
And now I get to do both of those at the same time. It's been really cool. Very, very fortunate.
That's really good. How did your journey to music begin? Because, it's different stories for everyone. For some people, they started singing when they were kids, or like their parents always knew they had it in them. Yeah. But then for other people, it's something that just catches them by surprise. Like, wait, I think I want to pursue music.
Yeah.
I think I'm actually good at it. So how did your journey start? Can you actually remember the first time you had that light just match and was like, yes, this is what I'm going to go for? And what was the influence behind it?
A moment. I don't know if I can say there was a definitive moment. Like I said, so my mum is very musical, and at all the family gatherings, guitar would come out and everyone starts singing. And I actually, it's really interesting you asked me this, because I've been trying to think about like when I first started singing, and I can't actually pinpoint it. I kind of just feel like I've always just been singing, and there's a lot of like home videos and stuff of me, and little Elise frilly dress, just that family things like singing. I think once I got into school and started singing in front of school audiences and things like that, I think I've always had in the back of my mind this idea of being a performer. I've always, but as a kid, your perspective is very limited. So to me, performing was like, you're going to be on TV, and you're going to have video clips, and you're going to, be this famous person. So I think there was always that image in my head of what being a singer meant. And then as I got older, into high school and stuff, I think the realities of it hit, and I was like, no, I'm not going to be those things. Not given. Back then, I guess in Perth there wasn't that much in the way of the music I liked, so the R&B and the hip hop and the soul. I wasn't seeing performers in Perth doing that kind of thing. And even on TV and things like that, they weren't Australians doing that kind of thing. So I guess I've always loved singing and all that, but through high school I guess I got dampened in my fantasies, I guess. But then going through, and that's where once I left high school, I was at uni and things like that, and started going out a bit more, and I found this little kind of niche of soul and R&B performers in Perth. So they were performing around the place, and a big, and I have to shout him out, Solomon Pitt, who is one of my best friends, but also a huge reason I am where I am, because man, I stalked him so bad. I was obsessed.
Isn't that how we all
with
start? Stalk someone.
Yeah, like I don't know if you've heard him, but this man's voice is just mesmerizing. And I've never heard anyone, to this day, no one in my heart sounds like him.
Oh, that's good.
So, yeah, I kind of just followed him, went to all his gigs. And
right.
I think I worked up the courage one time to talk to him. So we got talking. And then I think a friend that I brought mentioned to him, like, oh, Elise can sing.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, he was just like, oh, cool. He just trusted this friend that I could sing. And he went, cool, you're going to come up and sing with me. And it just kind of rolled. And then, so whenever I was at one of his shows, he'd call me up. I'd do one song. I was really never prepared.
Yeah.
He never told me what song I was going to sing. I messed up a lot of lyrics a lot of the time.
Yeah. But he took you under his wing, which is really rare. It's really hard to find someone who you admire and then they hear that you can do something and they actually take you under the wing. Like, okay, let me guide you through it. Let me help you through it. That's amazing.
Please tell me you're hearing me, 'cause I wanna be there always.
I'm forever thankful for that man. And so because of him, I met, so one of his shows at the Ellington Jazz Club, my favourite place to perform.
Yeah.
He was playing with just the most incredible people in Perth. So Graham Wood, who unfortunately passed away, anyone in the music scene will know him. He was playing, and from there, so he saw me sing this one song, and he was just like, I need to have you on the stage. And he booked all these shows for me, him and the drummer, who is another very close friend of mine and happens to be my partner as well. He was also, we weren't together at the time, but he also was very supportive. So it was just like this one person saw me, supported me through this whole process, and then I got introduced to these other incredible musicians that just really wanted to lift me up. And so from there, I started having little shows here and there. And it was still just on the side. I was still doing it. I was still teaching, doing it on the side. And then I don't know, I think I started doing more and more shows. And this same group of people that I've just been talking about, they all basically came to a point and they were like, why don't you just do this for a bit? Why don't you pursue it a bit more? So I left teaching for a bit. I think it was like a good 2 years where I kind of followed the music thing, and I still didn't know really, and I'm not gonna lie, I still don't quite know what it is I want to do with the music, because I love performing. There is a bit of songwriting that happens, the performance coaching, that was something that came out of that time where I was just following it, and I really love all of those things, but I'm happy to just see where everything's going and where it takes me if I keep pursuing it as passionately as I am. And already so many things have come from it. But so I don't know if there's still a definitive point or specific thing I want to see from the music. I think I'm pretty happy with where it is and where it's going. It's been really interesting.
That's really good. I wanted to talk more about when it comes to performing, like how you got to a place where you got comfortable with performing. Because I know for some artists that I've spoken to, performing is not easy. Some of them either deal with like the awkwardness of it, or sometimes some just don't end up doing it. Like they have an opportunity and they're like, I'm down, and then the nerves just come up, and then they're like, it's my first time, I'm not used to this, and then they're just gonna run away from it. Whereas for you, you seem to really be able to dominate the stage. You know what I mean? You have that presence, you're very confident as well. And I just want to know, like, have you always been this confident when it comes to performing? Because being in front of people is a whole different thing. Having to face people, sometimes they may have certain facial expressions while you're performing, and that can affect someone, if you're giving your energy and your all, and then someone in the audience just like looking bored or looking like, I don't want to be here, or someone could just yell something out. And for you, considering that you started at such a young age, like performing at school and then like just doing shows and things like that, how did you get comfortable with performing?
So coming from big family, like I said, so when I was a kid, and you kind of had no choice, and that's not just performing in terms of singing music. I'm just meaning like being around people
right.
and having to be okay to talk to them, like because my family, like, you didn't get a choice. It was like this auntie and uncle are over. You have to say hello to them, and they're gonna ask you about what you're doing and what you're doing at school and what you like, and you have to be able to like answer them and represent the family.
Yeah,
you know,
so crazy.
It's terrible, but that I would think really helped in terms of just being around people and then singing in front of them. I definitely, if I look back at old videos, I definitely wasn't comfortable. I was comfortable to stand on stage and sing, but I definitely wasn't as loose and as I am now.
Right.
But I think, again, so the circle of people that I was around made it very, very easy to, and this is a very important thing to me, is to be myself on stage. And I think that's, so with my performance coaching as well, like a lot of it is really just trying to get people to just be themselves, because people can tell when you're being something else. And from my experience with performing, people want to have some sort of connection with you.
Right.
I mean, that's just life in general. People are always looking for some sort of connection. When it comes to performing, people want to go away with an experience.
Right.
And as soon as they can see that you're, I don't know, even just singing songs that you don't believe in, like you can tell. And you might go, yeah, they're a good singer. That sounds nice. The band sounds good. But you might not necessarily connect with them. And I think I saw that, I don't know why, but I used to see that a lot. Just growing up. I think because when I first started watching live music, I saw the best of the best. Yeah. And they were just incredible. They were so comfortable and they would just be partying on stage. Yeah. So then, I guess I was like, well, if I'm going to perform with these people, I have to be up there.
Yeah, that's true.
But like I said, just being on stage with people that had supported me so much made me already feel comfortable and at ease. Not to mention the incredible musicians. So the actual music sounds good. So it's very easy to just get lost listening to them and trying to keep up, but like vocally like match what is happening in the band. Yeah. And so I think a lot of what, in my early stages of performing, I think a lot of the, I guess, attraction to my performances was that I was just on there kind of having fun with my friends. Yes. And I was very lost and not concerned about the audience.
Which is really good.
Yeah, I was very lucky, but it got to a point that as I started doing it more and I started choosing to perform and it became intentional that I wanted to do this music thing. Yeah. That's when I started becoming aware of the audience. And I was like, the facial expressions and all that. And I was like, oh my God, what do they think? And I became, because I'm not trained as well. Yeah. And as I started doing music more, I started interacting and meeting all these incredible vocalists that know so much more. Yeah. So I became really self-conscious. Yeah. And I don't think it necessarily affected my performances because I already knew there was an expectation for me to be a certain way on stage. But it did start playing into my mind and I started kind of, asking myself like, what is it about my performances over my vocals? Because I know I'm not the best vocalist, but there's obviously something there. So I had to really start breaking it all down, which is where the performance coaching came into it. Yeah. Because when I was able to like pinpoint what it is I'm doing, I guess maybe differently to other performers that do feel that anxiety. Yeah. That's where that whole idea of like helping people to be more confident on stage. And like I said, a lot of it is being confident with yourself. Because if you're not cool with you, you're not going to be cool with putting you on stage to a bunch of people. Yeah. And just finding what works. Yeah.
No, I love the fact that you touched on emotions. Like emotions are very, very important when it comes to performing because I know I've definitely listened to people who I'm like, they're amazing, like their voices are good, but it's someone singing about a heartbreak and they don't look like they've ever gone through heartbreak.
Yes.
Because the performance is so focused on like the ranges,
the technical stuff.
But then you don't feel it. And then you have those performers that you hear them and it's like they're speaking to you.
Yeah.
You know, and those are the people you feel so much more connected to, and you follow up on their music because you're like, they have a great voice, but they know how to like tap into those emotions that can really like, if they're talking about heartbreak, you will feel it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I think I'm in their shoes. I know exactly what they feel like. Yes. So for you, when you perform, what emotions do you tap into?
You know, it's funny you say that because I think it, just by nature, I'm very, I guess, passionate and very emotional. There's jokes about me and how easily I can cry and happy cries and sad cries that happen very instantly. And I think I really channel a lot. So whatever I am feeling, I feel very strongly. Mm-hmm. So, for example, if before a performance I've had a really bad day and I'm really angry or whatever it is, I can channel all of that, whether the song is happy or sad, or it's still, like you're saying, it's emotional content.
Yeah.
And I channel that into every song I'm singing.
Yeah.
So whether I'm being super, super happy, having a really great day, like I can channel that. So I think generally the emotional push comes from a good place. I'm usually pretty happy on stage if we're going to give it one blanket emotion.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say it's like it depends on the song and what the song's about. Because then that can be acting, possibly.
Yeah.
Whereas I really do feel that a lot of mine is from what I'm feeling that day. But because, like I said, I am just, I feel things very strongly.
Yeah.
I can push that out into a range of emotions depending on what the song calls for. Yeah. I don't know if that really answers the question.
Yeah, no, you're touching on it. No, absolutely. And the other thing as well is, you know, when you talk about how we're talking about when you started reflecting, you know, before it was like, I'm having fun with my friends, we're just singing, you know, you don't even notice that there are people watching. And then over time, the more you kept doing it, you said, now you got to a place where you're like, okay, was I good? You know, was my performance this and this? Now, I don't know as far as like your experience, but you've been doing this for a long time. And I don't know, have you ever had any negative reactions or responses when you're performing? And if you did, how did you deal with that?
I don't think I've had any very explicit, like someone coming up and saying that wasn't good. I've never had that. I've definitely had like kind of blank faces and, you know, maybe sometimes people getting up and leaving.
Which can still affect you as well.
Yeah. When you're on stage, you kind of can't let that affect you.
Yeah.
You just keep going. So I think I don't think, like I said, I don't think I've had someone explicitly give me bad feedback.
Yeah.
I've put that all on myself. So seeing someone walk away will play on my head.
Yeah.
Or let's say there's a really great musician in the audience that I absolutely admire and then they don't say anything to me. To me, I've just gone, oh, that means they didn't like it. As opposed to maybe they just didn't talk to you. Yeah. So I think a lot of all that is all on me. Definitely, and I know a bunch of singers will be able to say the same thing.
Really, yeah.
We are, like you just said, our own worst critics.
Yeah.
Because you're standing at the front of the band and the audience sees all of you. You don't have an instrument to hide and you're the one talking in between the songs and the one you are kind of the center focus, whether you don't want to be or not. Like that kind of just is how it ends up being. So a lot of those negative, the criticisms are usually from me.
And that's a lot of artists as well. That's a lot of people even when everyone else is saying you're great, you're amazing, we are like our own worst critics.
It is, and you don't even listen to them. They'll come up and be like, "You're amazing," and all I'm thinking is, "Oh, but I messed that song up."
And then like the voice was a bit off at that moment.
And why can't I just be like, "Thank you, thank you." I was really, I should be like, I'm getting better.
Yeah,
but it's a big lesson to learn.
Yeah,
and I think so. In terms of criticism, I think the drummer, my partner, he isn't just stupidly good in terms of the music side of things, and he's given me feedback in terms of how to improve. Initially, and this was in my early stages, we weren't actually together at this point, but early stages of going into music full time, that hurt. I was about to swear, I don't know if I can swear. But it really, because I just didn't know, because, with the teaching, the studying, and a lot of things I do, I work very, very hard at.
Right.
So this sounds so full of myself, but I'm used to being good at things.
Yeah.
When I put my mind to it.
Yeah.
So when I first started doing this, and in my head, I had been putting in the work. So then to be told, there's these gaps that you need to focus on, I was like destroyed. I was.
Yeah.
Now I can look back and go, oh no, there was literally nothing bad that was said. It was, these are things, everyone can work on things.
Exactly.
Everyone can work on things.
Yeah, and it's not like he was attacking your whole craft. It's like, I'm just telling you little places where you can do better.
Yeah, or how to, like the steps you can take. Like it was literally the practical things I could do.
Yeah.
And I think, again, it's my insecurities with these people know more than me in terms of music, and they've been doing it for so long, and and if he's saying that and he's being honest with me, which I'm very, very grateful for, but he's being honest with me, it's like, well, what does everyone else think? Like, what about the people that aren't being honest with me?
Oh, man, you're stepping in the worst of the worst.
Like, it can play havoc, and I'm very grateful that was only a moment in my music career, if you call it that. Whereas I am very aware that is a reality. Like, there's just a way of being for a lot of other musicians, vocalists or otherwise. And I guess I can really sympathize with those people. I know exactly what that feels like. Yeah. But for me, again, support circle is very important. And I've been very, very blessed with people that have helped me out of those unhelpful ways of thinking. That can just inhibit everything. Yeah, it's very easy to take it to heart and be like, should I even keep pursuing it? You start questioning yourself, like, maybe it's just not for me. There's so many people who are much better at this, and you start putting yourself down and things like that. And you said that you're glad that it happened for just a short amount of time, which is good. And the fact that you had, a good circle around you. But what advice would you give to artists who are maybe like currently in those shoes, where they're like, any kind of just like constructive criticism is like a jab in the heart, like, so you're coming from my passion, and sometimes it's not even pride. Like, what you're saying is, when you're putting and investing so much into something, and then to have someone else say that there's a crack there, it can really just make you feel like the whole thing might be messed up. What would be your advice to other artists that maybe are in that situation, or even like aspiring artists who maybe haven't gone through it, but everyone goes through that phase and that moment where they're questioning themselves, like, am I actually really good? And they're going through it and they're comparing themselves to other people. How do you get out of it? How did you get out of it? So definitely I 100% can say, because of the people I surround myself with, who were only honest with me because they love me. So they were able to, and I had to believe that these people loved me. So they're helping me. And then so again, my support circle is very, very important with that journey and that realization of what things mean and how to interpret things. And, and just being real with myself. But for other artists who maybe don't have access to that kind of support, it's so much working on yourself, and that's hard. It is, but it's the most important project to work on. But look, I would always say, like, go get professional help. You know, someone that knows how to tell you about your mind and what those thoughts are doing and how unhelpful. Because sometimes when you go to your friends or loved ones, it can be like, you know, even family members. There's that emotional investment. So to hear from them hurts more.
Yeah.
So it might not necessarily be helpful.
Yeah. Or sometimes they can hold back because they're scared of hurting your feelings as well.
Totally, because they know you so much better than. So definitely, I think professional help can help with that, because they're neutral. They don't know your background, but they can look at it kind of maybe rationally and go, look, what you're saying is this, but. And that's what you're feeling, but that doesn't mean, you know, there's people that, you know, are very good at that. But then also just learning to love yourself. I think that's such an important thing. Like, just, I know people go, you know, believe in yourself and blah, blah, and it can sound really wishy-washy.
Yeah.
But I think that's at the root of everything. If you love yourself, you'll always be okay with what you have to do. And if you love yourself and someone goes, oh, your product that you're putting out there is not good enough or needs work, whatever, because you're confident in yourself, and you can be like, yeah, that's fine. I don't actually care if you don't like it, or I don't. And if what you have to say is valid, that just means my product that represents me, who I love, is going to be even better. Yeah. And I don't think it's easy.
Oh, definitely.
My advice of loving yourself, it's not necessarily an easy step.
Process. It's a long way.
It's huge, but I think that's the most important way to get through those. Really, really. All I can call them unhelpful thoughts.
Yeah, which is I love that you're saying that, because it is true. When you love yourself, even when people do give you that constructive criticism, you can choose, because you know yourself. Yes. You can choose what to take and what not to take. Yeah. You know, you have that authority, and you have that strength within yourself that, okay, I hear what they're saying. Maybe this point is good. I'll take that. Yeah. I don't need that. Yeah. You know, you don't just take everything to heart and then just run with that.
And I think as well, with that comes working on your craft. And I think when you already love yourself, it becomes easier to work on your craft. Yes. But then the more you work on it, the better you are at it, which means, when you do get any sort of criticism, it's a lot easier to fix, because you're already so good at that thing. Yeah. But that's all kind of intertwined.
Absolutely.
With it all.
Let's talk about that transition from artist to performance coach. How did that transition how did you figure it out? How did you get to that place? You're like, okay, I'm an artist, but I want to touch into performance and coaching people into doing that. Let's talk about that transition.
Yeah, it's a funny way that came about.
Yeah.
So I'm, like I said, I'm a teacher. So since I was a kid, I've always had this part of me that wants to educate.
Right.
To pull the potential out of people. Like, that's what I do in my teaching world.
Yeah.
And so when I decided to do music full time, I was going to a lot more performances. So this is why it's funny. I was going to a lot more performances and getting very angry. It sounds terrible.
Yeah.
At the lack of performance. So I was going to all these things. I'm like, how are these people on stage? Why are they choosing to do this? They don't even look like they're enjoying it. You know, they're taking up good real estate. Like, well, I could have had that gig.
I could have done much better.
And I had jokingly said with my very good friends, one time we were at, and this is terrible, and this is why I have good friends. And I was like, man, someone should pay me, and I will tell them how to be better on stage. And my friends turned to me and they went, you complain so much about people. Why don't you do that? Why don't you do something with all that anger? Yeah. And they're like, stop just being XYZ. Those words which I won't say.
Repeat them today.
You know, and I was like, why am I being so unhelpful? I'm being this critic and not even actually telling those people like
what they can do.
Mad. And I didn't like that side of me. So I was like, it was literally that moment, and this little light bulb kind of came up, and it was like, you're a teacher, you're a trained teacher. Yeah. And you probably could find a way to write a specific program for someone based on their needs. it's for performance needs. So that's where the idea came from. It came, unfortunately, from a place of anger.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I had to be inspired by something.
Yeah, so I kind of channeled it, and that was just a huge learning curve for me as a performer as well, because I was kind of like, well, if I'm going to be telling other people or coaching other people, I need to be real with myself.
Yeah.
And I don't have to be the best performer in order for someone to take advice from me.
Yeah.
But I need to be real about what performance is.
Facts.
And
really
and
cool.
Understand other people and what performance means to them. All that kind of stuff. So it was amazing, and I definitely think I am a better performer for it. I've made some really great connections and just experiences from doing that little venture.
Yeah, that's really good. What are some of the common mistakes you notice young artists make when it comes to performing?
The big thing is just not being authentic. I think that's what I was saying earlier. It's like when you see them either trying too much to be,
or imitating someone that
or just holding back so much that then nothing comes out except the voice.
Yeah.
And you know what? And it's not just for vocalists. I'm talking about the whole band. Because the whole band is what everyone sees. And or if it's not a band, if it's a DJ or whoever is on the stage is part of that performance. Everyone needs to be enjoying what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I think just not feeling like they're enjoying themselves is what I was seeing all the time.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing. And that fear, like, where they're just like kind of standing with the mic and
I just want to get it over and done with so I can go back home.
Like the fear on their face as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most obvious ones to me. But just be like, you chose to be on that stage. You chose to put your music, whether it's original or a cover.
Yeah.
That's your choice. So believe in your choice and do it.
No, that's
absolutely let people see
you. Yeah. And I feel like some people, as like upcoming artists and whatnot, they may not see the importance of getting coaching. And it's a big thing. Like, if you can't figure it out on your own, it's good to get professional help. How can I have a better stage presence? Why you as a coach, why is it important for artists to reach out and to get performance coaching?
Well, I think, that was another reason I started it, was I saw there was that gap. You can have vocal coaching to make sure your voice is correct. If you're a musician on an instrument, you can get coaching to make you better at the technical sides of things.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's a lot of performers coaching on how to perform. Like, I did my research and there's like, if you want to do performances, like acting schools, that's what we have here in Perth.
Yeah.
And I know maybe some artists might go, well, there's not that many performing opportunities here in Perth, so maybe there's no reason to get the coaching. But if you're choosing to go away and pursue your dream overseas or even over east, you are going to end up performing. And I think in this day and age where like there's a dime a dozen, like social media, that platform is all visual. That is the way we take in information now. So music, like, you could, you put Spotify and SoundCloud and all those things, like, you can come across a dime a dozen, like, great songs, and you can feel it and it's cool. But then what people remember is when they see that artist. They'll stalk your profile and what pictures do you have? And, we are living kind of in, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but we do live in a superficial world. We take things in by face value.
Absolutely.
So why not then work on what that part of your product is, which is being on stage, and it's what people see. Down to, like, not that I've had to, but things like what you wear on stage, like that, people make an assumption there and then. You don't have to care what they think. But if you're not comfortable in what you're wearing, then you are going to care what they think.
And it's going to show as well. Like, if you are uncomfortable, people can tell. Nerves, people can tell. Small things like that. Sometimes your voice goes a bit low. People can notice those things. And I think that however you feel is going to project onto the people.
Yeah. I think because I've had the experience from not being a musician and being someone that purely went to performances and was just a music lover, which is everybody that comes to our shows. They're just music lovers. So I was that person who didn't rate myself vocally. To then being on stage and work, and I guess I've got that perspective from all rounds, whereas some people might have people in their corner that haven't done any of it. They haven't been anything except an audience member. They haven't been anything except a musician. Whereas I think I've got that, maybe that upper hand, and that I've had both experiences. I know what people think from the outside, because I talk to everyone. I'm in the audience talking and listening to what the audience is saying. But then I've also been on stage and I know what it feels like to receive that.
Exactly.
I also know what it feels like with the band or the DJ or whoever's on stage with me. So I've got that perspective, I think, whereas perhaps some of the whatever tutors and things, they might not be performers, they might just be really, really good at the instrument. And so they can give you that. Whereas I think the coaching thing, that the performance side of it is maybe something that's not touched on as much.
When it comes to anxiety, I feel like I have noticed a lot of great artists who have really, really bad anxiety. I mean, look at even big people, for example, like Zayn, Summer Walker, people who are amazing, like vocally, but then when it comes to like the stage and people and things like that, people get extremely nervous. And I feel like it doesn't help when fans are also attacking your anxiety. You know, like just get over it. Put yourself together. I just want to hear you sing. You know, like how, if like you as a coach, how would you help someone who deals with anxiety?
Well, first and foremost, I deal with anxiety. I have very serious anxiety. Again, professional help. That is what gets me through. But and again, I guess that's something I can bring to things.
Absolutely.
I 1,000% know how debilitating it can be when you're in your head and you have to go on stage. And like you've got a job to do. And that's not just for singers. That's or musicians. Even with my teaching job, I still have to go to work. I still have to be around these people. So it is. I know how debilitating it can be. Again, I can't stress enough the professional help and having good people, making good choices about who's around you, because you can get people that can essentially make you double down on those thoughts. I think the anxiety is never just from my experiences and talking with other people, I don't think the anxiety is ever only about being on stage and being scared of that. I think it's always got a lot more foundations to it. So, whatever, for lack of a better term, trauma you've experienced. Because performing is not just being on stage. We're performing every day. Every time you're around people, you're putting some sort of way of surviving in whatever. Some people do it really well and are happy with it, and some people have to really work to be around other people. So in those everyday experiences, some people may have experienced something that they then bring to being on stage and performing. And I think you have to get to the root of that. What is it? Because it's not you just being on stage. Because otherwise, why did you choose? Again, it was a choice. Why did you choose to do that? You don't have to. So getting to the root of what is it you're scared about, and is it scared of other people's opinions? Possibly. Is it scared of you letting yourself down? All of that. I think once you come to some sort of awareness around that, you can start to work on it. But if you don't have that awareness, you just got this thing that you're like,
you just deal with it and you're not sure like where's it coming from, how am I going to get over it and things like that. And I feel like it's really important. Like I never like knew there was such a thing as like a performance coach, but now with you explaining everything, I do think it's really important, especially if you want to really pursue music or just any kind of performances or whatever. I think it's really important to like stretch your hand and just go and get that help and that assistance that you need. For you as a coach, just to give people a rough understanding of what, like, the steps you take people through as artists, what are those steps that you take people through as you help them to improve on their performances?
Yeah, look, it differs with every single person because every single person is different. And I think that's the main thing about coaching.
Yeah.
As opposed to teaching, and I can say both. Yeah. Because teaching, you know, you give them, they don't have the skills, you give them the skills. Yeah. Whereas coaching is you have the skills and we are now going to identify exactly what part of that particular skill set we need to work on. Right. So what I do is, you know, I meet them first and find out, you know, a little bit about obviously their background and the relationship they have with performing. Yeah. If they have any video footage and stuff, I like to have some of that first so I can get an idea of what they do. Yeah. Because I try and get as much of an authentic perspective on their performance, because it's kind of weird, like if I just ask you, like, sing for me, let me see how you perform. That's not a real performance. No. Because there's no audience, there's no bag, you haven't prepared, all that kind of stuff. So that's why I like the video footage. So for some people, you know, I've gone to their performances, and that is part of my coaching to them, is going there, taking my notes, and then we discuss it. And, so it really, it's a lot of developing a relationship and finding out exactly what they want from their performances. Yeah. And making a plan, because for some people, you know, it's literally moving on stage is the worst thing that they can think of. Like they want to stand behind that mic stand, and they don't want to move.
Just cling on to it. Just like that's their comfort in that moment.
Yeah, so it's like, all right, so why are you scared to move? What's the problem? Finding all that out, and then going, all right, well, what movements are you comfortable with? Yeah, and then I was really lucky because I do a lot of I was doing a lot of coaching at the Ellington Jazz Club during the day when no one's there, so there's an actual stage there, so you know, you can and we can use mics and things like that, so we can kind of emulate or recreate a performance as such. So you only get better at things you practice, right? So
practice makes perfect.
Yeah, so if it's a movement thing, so all right, practice taking that mic off the stand and
just
practice
one
walking
little bit
into that, you know, and do it over and over again until you're not thinking about it. Yeah. So that's like, if it's a movement thing, if it's, you know, finding the emotion in the song, that's a whole different way of going about unlocking that. And unlocking that type of thing is can sometimes it's become like almost like a therapy session. Yes. Like
you have to go there,
because that's what it's like. I need you to understand why you're feeling this way, and why you're scared to sing that lyric, or you're not conveying that message, is because you don't believe it, and I can't tell you that until we kind of
get to the
break down some stuff. Yeah. So so the with the performance coaching, you can just dependent on
the individual pretty much.
Yeah. So everyone gets their own programs. I create after the initial, I guess, consultation, but then that program always changes because people change. Yeah. So you can't have the same things over and over again. Yeah. And also, if things aren't working as well, I change that up. Yeah. As well. So it's kind of, you have to be, I am very fluid and flexible. I don't have like a one size fits all.
Which is really good.
Well, it can't. You know, like there's not one answer on how to be a good performer.
Yeah, and I love the fact that you try and figure out what's the best way I can help this person. Yeah. And not like, well, if you work for her, it's going to work for you. But I love that's the investment though. Like when you're really invested in your artist, you have to like look for each and every way that you can help them out. Yep. Now you have a song with Nick Ponton called Expect. Yeah. Now in that song you talk about self-love and self-confidence and things like that. How does self-love and self-confidence shape you as an artist? Because I know before we talked about if you love yourself, that just completely changes, you know, your whole journey as an artist, even as a performer as well. So what does self-love and self-confidence do for you as an artist?
Definitely helps you, in terms of original music, it helps you be okay with what you're writing about.
Yeah.
And it allows you to let people listen to you and listen to your songs without having to worry whether they like it or not. Because I like it. Well, I love it. Because that's it. Yeah. Because everything I do, because I have that love for myself, everything I do comes from a place of love.
Yeah.
So if it's a cover that I'm doing, I've chosen to do that cover so I can sing it my way and be happy with the way I'm performing it. Yeah. If it's my own songs, and because I had a lot of anxieties about writing music and lyrics. I was so like, I can't write like so and so.
Yeah, it's not comparing yourself.
There's that, and then there's also the I don't want people to know about this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like, what are people going to think of me if they hear these lyrics? Because this is really like coming from here. This is
you're vulnerable. Yeah.
And just I guess putting the ego aside a little bit and going, everyone goes through this stuff.
Indeed.
It's not about me.
Yeah.
It's whether or not I believe in what I'm writing about and singing about. So self-love is huge. Huge.
Yeah.
It's everything.
It's important. And I know that some of the lyrics in the song, you're like, I can only be myself, so I'm going to be the best version. And I know that also in your verse as well, you talk about having no expectations and being patient and things like that, which is major for artists. I feel like that's something that a lot of artists struggle with, is looking at themselves and feeling like they're not where they would want to be. Maybe they saw themselves, like what you're saying, like, when you started it, you're like, I'm going to be on TV, I'm going to be doing this. And I feel like a lot of artists, when they, do pursue music, something they love, they do think of, I'm going to find a producer who's going to invest in me, I'm going to have albums out, I'm going to have this and this. And I feel like you do go through your testing times where you feel like, I'm not moving. I'm not where I saw myself when I started. Now, you saying that no expectations, it's so freeing when you stop having those expectations. It's not so much that like you don't have faith in yourself that you're going to go far, but you're basically saying that let things just unfold in their own time, in their own way. So how do you keep yourself grounded when it comes to like not having expectations and like when things feel like they're not necessarily where you would like them to be?
Man, that's a constant grind. That one is because I do believe don't have. I think we were talking about it earlier with my putting my music out. Like I used to have like I have to be writing my own music because I'm not teaching anymore, so I have to have this product to show people.
This pressure on yourself.
And then I didn't do anything because I just again that it becomes debilitating when you put all there's all this weight and all this pressure that you literally can't move from that spot. So coming out like now, I was saying like I'm doing everything from a place of love for me, and whatever happens happens authentically. Like yes, there's a little bit of direction that I can decide on where things are going. I can decide on saying no to something or whatever it is. But I guess not. There's that reality of like, well, if it doesn't happen the way you're expecting, like, what are you going to do with that?
Yeah.
Are you going to get yourself down, or are you going to pick yourself up or take it another way, or look at myself and go, well, why didn't it work? And I think just being real with yourself is so important with that process. But it is, like I said, that I still do put expectations on myself. I want to be the best at what I do.
Yeah,
like those lyrics.
Honestly.
Well, this is it. Those lyrics of I want the best version.
Yeah.
That is just for me. So I'm putting the pressure on myself, but then there's that constant self-talk of calm down.
Like, calm down a little bit.
Like you get where you want to be. Just let it be.
A matter of time.
Like, and Nick Ponton's lyrics and that's all Nick Ponton's track. That was him, and I'm very grateful that he asked me.
It's an amazing
to
track.
be on that track.
It's an amazing track.
But he is like
his flow.
Yeah, but his just view on life and the way that he takes things in his stride and stuff like that. That song is just him I think it really embodies who he is.
Right.
Which is, I guess, really helped me again with writing those lyrics and singing it and believing in it. It was really easy to do it because he did such a good job of loving himself and putting that out there.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I think you meet a lot of artists who sometimes they give up. Yeah. Because they're like, it's been so long. I've been putting all my energy, my time, investing, and yet it seems like people are sleeping on me. Yeah. You know, and I feel like it's such a hard pill to swallow, you know, for so many artists to decide now, like, do I keep going or do I stop? And I feel like some stop right when they were almost there. Yeah. You know? Some things, they're meant to build your patience. They're meant, you know, to show you that you got to be resilient. Because the music scene is so big, the music industry, and for you to stand out, no one knows the key. Yeah. You know, no one knows the key. Literally, there are some people who release like a video, and then tomorrow they're popping. They've gone viral. And then there's someone who's so good, and they're doing everything by the book, and still no one knows about you. So I feel like there's literally no key. It's just like, when you love yourself, I feel like that's what makes other people stand out a lot. Yeah. People who have made it as well, is they trusted in what they had. They said, you know what, there may be a lot of artists, but I bring something that someone else doesn't have. Yeah. You know, and you go with that. And I feel like that's really, really important. Now, I want to know what is coming up next for you. What are you working on? What should we be expecting, keeping our eyes on?
So we've got now that the venues are opening again. So we've got a few shows. Our next show, so with Nick Fontaine and myself, with BlackTop, that's our band. Awesome. At the Ellington on the 25th of July. So that's just going to be a big party. That's all we want to do.
Everything's been locked down for months.
Yeah. So it's all just going to be just all upbeat songs and get everyone dancing, because that's all we're going to be doing. Yeah. So that's kind of the only locked in thing at the moment. We've got ideas for a bunch of shows for the rest of the year. Awesome. I personally am hoping to do more just myself this year. Yes. I've done a few. I've done a lot on my own, but I think I want to do an intentional. This is me now. This is who I am in 2020.
I love that.
So I've got a few show ideas. So definitely stay tuned for those.
Absolutely.
And hopefully maybe I'm not going to say by the end of the year. I'm not going to put a date on it. But definitely some new music, some original stuff. Is in the works. But like I said,
I'm loving the sound of that right now. Yes, that's what we need.
Yeah, no dates on anything for that. Like I said, no
dates. But at least we know. Yeah. At least we know. Let's look out for something that's gonna happen. Yeah. From end of this year and next year.
Yeah, I mean by the end of the year would be really, really nice.
Ideal. Yeah.
Given the way that this year's been going and the things we've been working on. Yeah. But it's okay if it doesn't come out. Definitely the shows. We've got a lot of shows planned coming out. So keep a lookout with my page as well as the BlackTop page as well. All those dates will come out.
Awesome. No, thank you so much. I'm excited, honestly. I'm so excited. I want to come to these shows and just be in the moment.
Please.
Just enjoy the music. So I'm definitely going to come with some of my friends. So everybody just know. I'm going to put the dates and everything down, links to the page as well, so that people can keep up with what's happening, what are the next shows and everything like that. But thank you so much for coming today. It was awesome talking to you. Yeah. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you follow her, follow the band, everything. All the information is going to be linked. So make sure that you guys follow her and support and show up to these gigs, okay? Yes. So until next time, thank you. Bye.
So you know I'm gonna be the best version. No expectation, just appreciation of myself. I trust
I feel like I've come so far. But cocky, I bet you didn't see that one coming covered in khaki. Maybe this is kamikaze, I've been so blasé about to pass another rappers while I'm whiter than your latte. Why don't you fuck with me? You think that I'm venereal? Or because I got a silver spoon to weigh my cereal?